I had the chance to visit the Dashi district area, basically a town in Taoyuan a few months back, and I can finally talk a little about it. The city is famous for being the temporary resting place of the two Chiangs, Chiang Kai-shek and Chiang Ching-kuo. Aside from their mausoleums, you can also find there an eerie statue park full of mostly Chiang Kai-shek statues. That is what this video is mostly about. Dashi Township is located in the city of Taoyuan in Taiwan. It has a population of some 93,000 people, which roughly puts it on par with many American industry towns. In addition to its attractiveness as a tourist spot, the area has some great food. You should try it. Their dried tofu snacks and meat sauce on rice dishes are absolute heaven. But we want to talk about the mausoleums. It is not entirely clear to me why this township now houses the bodies of the two Chiangs. You would expect that Chiang Kai-shek's tomb would be placed in the now famous Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall in Taipei. After all, there's a museum there dedicated to his achievements, for better or worse. Mostly the better, rarely the worse. My best guess from the reading is that Chiang Kai-shek preferred the Shihu area because of its beauty. It had a beautiful lake there, and that lake reminded him of his hometown back in Fenghua, a town near the city of Ningbo. Ningbo, coincidentally, is also where my family is from. He had the military designated as a military base, and then built a residence there. All of this, of course, was done above board. When he died in 1975, a few months before Mao, the residence was converted into a temporary resting place. Temporary because, of course, he wanted to be buried on the mainland, once the Kuomintang took it back from the communists. Any day now. Chiang Ching-kuo was Chiang Kai-shek's only acknowledged son, biological. I read that Chiang Kai-shek was apparently sterile early in life. He took power upon the death of the Generalissimo after having taken a series of high-level roles throughout China and Taiwan's turbulent history. He has had an interesting background, but I'll save that for a future video. He is most known for overseeing Taiwan's economic rise and shepherding its relatively peaceful transition to democracy. He always painted himself as a diligent son, and thus was entombed near his father. The mausoleum itself is more humble, next to a tourist center, rather than a stunning lake, and I think that befits him. Chiang Ching-kuo transitioned Taiwan to a democracy for several reasons, one of which being the goal of remaking the Kuomintang Party into an electorally competitive entity. But by most indications, it appeared that Chiang never really thought that the Kuomintang could actually lose an election. But it did, after Chiang's hand-picked successor Li Donghui stepped down due to term limits. Dude's still alive, by the way. He's 96 years old. The new president, Chen Shui-bian, belonged to the resurgent Democratic Progressive Party, the DPP, and he instituted some changes to Taiwanese society, one of which led to the creation of this park. Throughout the Chiang years, the Kuomintang sought to cultivate a cult of personality around Chiang Kai-shek. The apparent goal was to legitimize the Kuomintang's grip on the island's power. It painted Chiang as the benevolent father of the nation, and the Kuomintang is carrying his legacy forward into the future. Part of this effort led to the raising of various Chiang Kai-shek statues in schools and various public areas across the island. However, President Chen, having entered politics after the violent Kaohsiung incident, vigorously sought to scrub this influence. He wanted to take the statues out of the schools, and thus they were relocated here to this little park. There was a time when the Shihu area saw bunches of visitors from the government and Kuomintang party officials eager to pay homage to the Generalissimo. That time now seems to have passed. The Kuomintang today is a lot different from when the Chiangs ran it. And generally amongst the young generations, Chiang Kai-shek is seen more as the brutal dictator responsible for totally awesome events like the 228 incident, when Republic of China troops shot unknown numbers of Taiwanese natives on the street. A number of vandalism events have forced the mausoleum's closure to the public, but the park remains open. The park itself is beautiful and unexpected. You come to it after a bit of a walk through some nature. It's well manicured and offers benches and a fish-filled pond for contemplation. At the same time, it's a little surreal to walk through an area so full of statues of almost the same person over and over again. They are arranged in interesting and thoughtful ways, resulting in a weird feeling that you are in some parallel world. That being said, I did see 2 Chiang Ching-kuo statues in the park, so it's not entirely exclusive of the Generalissimo. There is a nearby visitor center with 2 statues great for selfies. Inside, you can see various relics from Chiang's life, including a letter written by frenemy Mao Zedong. Conclusion. Daxi is worth visiting. The history it represents might be fraught with conflict and pain, but the area itself is beautiful and calm. Come by with a friend, a native Taiwanese especially, and get ready to listen to some sharp political opinions. You can argue about it for some time, and then chill with the amazing view after that gets boring. Alright everyone, have a good evening.